Good morning, and welcome to episode 3 of the podcast with Taylor, presented by OddSmokerMMA. Today, I have the pleasure of having Hunter, the Righteous Reaper Buehler, here with me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Um, doing good. So let's go ahead, jump right in. Why don't we start? I know we have quite a bit to talk about. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh yeah.
So let's start off. Let's start with your, early years before you got into MMA, school years, and what's leading up to your career.
Honestly, through school, I mean, I played football and basketball and ran track, but I never really thought. I mean, I watched boxing. I was really into it, and I mean, I kind of always wanted to as a kid. I remember my uncle and stuff boxed, and he said tell my dad all the time to let him train me, but I didn't really, I guess, start actually thinking about trying to get into it until I was about 16. And I boxed for like a couple months, and it just, I was a kid. I wasn't really disciplined, so I didn't really stick with it. You know what I mean? I was played football and skated, and that's pretty much it as far as that goes. And then um, really getting into fighting was just the same kind of feeling, I guess, but I was just older. I just had that same feeling, and I guess I kind of just had, I pursued it a little bit more.
Okay. Um. So, how old were you when you started really getting into it?
You said what?
But how old were you when you really started getting into it, and where you started
Um,
like actually doing it?
I was, let's see, I was 26. I started actually boxing when I was 26, and I had my first fight in October of 2024 as a boxing match. And then I started getting bad off on drugs and everything, and going down the wrong path, and but at that time too, I didn't really like take it. I guess I did take it serious, but I didn't see what I saw now. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, heard drug addiction there. What happened? Talk to me about
Man, so that I like to say that, you know, I guess I started doing drugs because of everybody else or whatever it might be, you know what I mean? Not understanding my how I felt about certain situations, blaming the world for everything, blaming everybody around me for whatever was going on in my life at the time, or just not being able to face, who I was, and the parts that I didn't like. And yeah, I remember I lost my job. I was doing steroids for a little bit. I guess because I was insecure, so I wanted to be big. That's what I got from it, from when I look back at it. But so I was working offshore, and I remember I got I had they made me quit pretty much, or I was going to lose one of my licenses because they found out I was on steroids. Blah 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 blah. Well, come home, just everything starts falling apart. You know what I mean? Like my car's gone pretty much in the shop still. Relationship issues. You know what I mean? I was super codependent. I didn't even know who I was. You know what I mean? Like I thought I did. But and then like when I lost everything, like when I lost my relationship, and I that's when I kind of realized, like, I didn't really know who I was because I didn't even know what I liked anymore. You know what I mean? Because I was just so caught up with doing stuff for somebody else or whatever it may be, and out of my own actions. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I started getting worse and worse, and I ended up getting clean or whatever for like a couple of weeks, a month, or something like that, and then I got back off on it, and one thing led to another, and I started shooting everything, started shooting 8 ball fentanyl a day. I'm talking about like I couldn't even get up out of bed if I didn't have it. You know what I mean? At some point, it stops. It just becomes survival. You can't do nothing without it. And and then yeah, and but I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean? Because like without any of that, I wouldn't be able to like be who I am and know who I am or what I'm capable of. Because a lot of people don't make it out of that stuff at all, and especially with no help and like all alone. I mean, I had nothing, I had nobody, just me, myself, the universe, and God.
Trust me, if anyone understands, it's me. I've been through the struggle as well. I went through it for years, and fortunately for me, I did have the support. I just didn't care. Like I was just so done with life.
Mhm.
I didn't care. And
Right.
so for you, what was that final straw? Like that you said, "Fuck this!" Like I'm done. Let me get my shit together. Because I think you also have a daughter, correct?
Yeah, I got a 11-year-old boy, and then I got a 2-year-old daughter. She's about to be 3 in June, and then yeah, it wasn't them though. Like I try to use that excuse of getting clean for my kids. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. Um, the final straw for me, like after I was able to go back and kind of analyze everything and like where I was at and what I was doing was, I think I was just really, I really wanted to, kind of pursue that thought that I always had about myself, and that always got shot down growing up or whatever, that I could be something or somebody because there's a line I guess I don't know if I made it up or not, but you're a nobody until you're somebody. You know what I mean? Like it's just how it is, and I just always pondered on that thought, and I just one day I was just so I wasn't even like mad anymore. It was more of just like when everybody left, and I'm glad everybody left me. I hated everybody for it at the time because I was like, "Yo, you don't love me," blah blah blah. But they would have let me stay around doing what I was doing, I'd probably be dead right now. But so everybody leaving me, and that when you're alone with yourself, like with nothing, with nobody, you know what I mean, and it's just like I think you either come to a point in the road where it's like, all right, like, am I going to be what everybody says I am? Am I going to be what I think I am? Or am I going to be what, like, I know I'm supposed to be or what I've always felt like I was supposed to be? You know what I mean? And I just kind of had like a little come to Jesus meeting. Like, I got, because when I pray, I don't ask for things or whatever. You know what I mean? Be walking around the store talking to Jesus. You know what I mean? I treat it like it's like my father. But I'm real big on God and the universe though, because it all matters. It all plays a part. And that was just I remember breaking down and just like being so over it. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to make the right choice. You know what I mean? And like I just didn't know kind of how or where to start. And it wasn't the next day or anything like that. It was like a week later or so. I just remember I woke up one day and I tried so many times before to get clean, like so many times, been sick so many fucking times. Freaking times, my bad. But um but yeah, and then I woke up one day and I wasn't sick and I was like, okay, this is weird. You know what I mean? And I was like, whatever. Second day, I'm not sick. I'm like, all right, you know what? I was like, fuck it. If I wake up tomorrow and I'm not sick, I was like, I will do whatever I'm supposed to, whatever I'm supposed to do in life. I'll do it, or or that's it. Like I don't know what else to do because that's not just something that happens. It's just not.
That's it. Oh, to think like you know not to get sick off of it because I never.
Right.
But
But yeah, and
when it,
then
go ahead.
what's
What were
up?
we gonna say?
No, I'm good.
You sure?
Whatever you, yeah.
I just wanted to jump back real quick to you said that you're nobody until you're someone. I think is what you said.
Mhm.
So at the time, for everyone who's addiction, people think we're nobodies, and we're trying to make that change now. So now that you've been clean for a little while, who do you want to be? Like, who are you now? 'Cause you're not that junkie that everyone thought you were, who's going to leave you there to die. So
Mhm.
tell them who you are today.
I mean, well, that's the funny thing. I am, I still am that person. You know what I mean? You're everybody's born to be who they are. You're born on a certain day at a certain time in a certain place for a specific reason. And you don't ever. I don't believe people change, but I believe they change their circumstances and their choices. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Ultimately, that's how you grow and heal. And because you can't, God created everybody to be who they're supposed to be. From the day you're born, that's like you go through things. You're not going to go through nothing that he don't think or the universe doesn't think you can't handle. You know what I mean? But and it's all for a reason. That whenever time it happens, it's for a reason, whether you know what reason it's for or not. But I'm still that same person. I just make different choices. I really think about my consequences because there's consequences. It doesn't matter if it's the right choice. There's still a consequence you're going to learn something from. So I really think about my choices and I really control my thoughts. And it's not easy to do it. I can make it sound easy all day, and it sounds so simple and cliche, but it really is like it really is that like when you're not at war with your mind anymore, you have peace in there. It's a lot different when with what you can do with it. When you can make your mind work for you and not against you, it's everything. So I'm still that same person, but I'm just like I said, I just change my circumstances and I make better choices, different choices, not even necessarily better choices. I just make the right choices for me and my life and where I'm supposed to go. So
I like
what you get is what you get is what you see is what you get. I ain't from 2 years old and now. All I did was be a sponge and soak up the right or wrong stuff and took that and rolled with it.
Yeah. Hey, I get that. Unfortunately, I soaked up the wrong for a longer period of time than I did the right, but we're
Hey,
all getting
everybody
there.
make wrong yeah, everybody makes wrong choices. You know what I mean? I still make wrong choices. I ain't perfect.
Yeah. Not to turn this into a biblical session at all, but I'm also a
Yeah.
Christian. I'm a follower of God. But when you were talking about God's path and everything He does is for you, I do want to bring up that Bible verse, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So, what like you're talking about, yeah, He made us into these ways. We made these choices, but now this next part of our journey is to prosper us, to guide us into that right direction. So
Right. Yeah. 100%. And that's why I say I'm a Christian. I'm not a New Age Christian. That's a lot. That's a whole different conversation. But I'm a follower of Christ. But I just don't. I'm not with all the rules and stuff to be a Christian now. You know what I mean? Because we're born into sin and all that. We're going to do it. That's the whole point of Jesus. Why He died for us. And I really just believe in love and forgiveness. That's all He showed. Say what you do what you say. Love and forgive. It doesn't matter. So I can't remember the verse, but it says it somewhere in the Bible. Forgive somebody 470 times, not literally, but it's that's the key.
yeah, oh,
And you got to forgive
absolutely.
yourself. You got to forgive yourself first. You can't forgive anybody until you forgive yourself for whatever it is. That ain't for nobody to know if you don't want them to know it. But you know what I mean. Like, got to really like be in tune with yourself. I think in order to like start growing that relationship with God and with the universe, because those are two separate things. You know what I mean? God doesn't control life, but He nudges
Mm,
you which way you should go, which way you shouldn't. Whether you make that choice is yours. Free will, but then you got life, but you do the right things, life will open up doors for you too. And so
absolutely. Yeah. All right. So I love that conversation. That got deep real quick. I love it.
yeah,
Love
always.
it. let's lighten up the mood a little bit, if
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I do love everything we just talked about. Seriously, that was awesome. I really really enjoyed that. Um, let's talk about where you're at right now in MMA. I
yeah.
believe you have a fight coming up in May 17th.
May 17th in Biloxi at the Civic Center. Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. So what is it like preparing for a fight? You know, you're coming up on that we're getting into
It's
deep into now and
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, I kind of try to always stay in like I guess a camp you could say, but at least with amateurs, it's a little bit trickier to have a camp because there's not some people don't have footage like that or whatever. You know what I mean? Which honestly, none of that kind of matters. But I mean, it's rough. The weight cut's the worst. For me at least, because I fight at 135 now instead of 45. I dropped down 10 more pounds to fight. Drop down a weight class. So I'm at bantamweight now. That's what I'm going to be sticking with. But other than that, I mean the training. I mean it's just if it just depends, I guess, on if where you're at and your mindset. Because some days, I don't want to get up and do nothing, but I got to because like if I don't, I can't take no days off. Because if I do, I don't know if he's working out as hard as me or harder. You know what I mean? I can't risk underestimating that because I underestimated a lot in my last fight with Juju. So I can't make those mistakes again. I learned a lot from that fight. So
um, I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot that you fought Juju, and
yeah, that's
you
my
told
boy.
me even conversation like prior to the interview a couple days ago. So I'm so sorry.
No,
Um,
you're good.
but yeah, I mean, it's all learning. You go up against these fighters, and you just each fight you do better. You learn something new. You know, you fuck up somewhere else. That's where you're gonna focus on when you're in the gym. You know, and all you can do is just get better.
Right. And that's the greatest thing about this is it's like one of those things. It's like you can never be the best, like perfect, or like you could be the best, but you can't be perfect at it. It's always there's something you could always do better. You know what I mean? And that's I think what kind of draws me into it also is I'm not giving myself ever a real chance and never seeing like progression because I would be the type of person or kid who would be like, well, if it didn't work on the first try, I was like, well, fuck it, it's not meant for me. You know what I mean? I give up right then and there. Fighting though is different. It's like you can see your progression and everything, and then it makes you want to, I mean, it makes you feel better all the way around. But yeah, you know, it's it's, uh, it's definitely teach you more about yourself than you will anything. That's for sure too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's see. So we on the past fighting. Shit. What do you like? What do you do in your free time? Like, you know, I know every fighter's got a life outside of fighting, but we never hear about it. You know, like everything's, like yeah, we want to do a deep conversation, but then it's a typical questions about training and your upcoming fights, and let's hear about what you like to do in your free time with your family.
Yeah, I mean, really, so I'm actually a really busy person, I guess. Not I guess I am a busy person. I mean, when I got free time, I'm usually with my kids. You know what I mean? Trying to spend as much time as I can with them because I sacrifice a lot to try to chase this dream, and especially I sacrifice a lot of time with my family and my kids. It's part of it. It sucks. You know what I mean? But for the most part, with any free time I have, I try to make it with them, and whatever it is, take them to do stuff. We're just hanging out of the house because I have my own business too, so I'm busy all day during the week, and then I go train in the afternoons, and then I train in the morning before I go to work. I kind of try to live that lifestyle until it is my actual lifestyle.
Yeah.
But that's really it on the free time. It's just my kids. I just because it's kind of tough for me. I try to. I don't. I don't. I don't want to make any. I don't want to get in trouble or like any. I don't go out like or anything like that too much because I don't want to put myself in situations that's going to cause me to get in any type of trouble or set me back like further than I've already set myself back. You know what I mean? I'm still working my way up. So it's
But there's
tricky right
nothing
now, I
wrong.
guess. No, yeah,
Yeah, like I look at and I see these people who are out partying still, in their late 20s, and I'm just like, I actually don't mind like spending my free time with my daughter, like. But I think for me and you, we already went through that phase, and why would we want to go back it when it completely ruined our lives for a little, like.
right,
So you saying just spend free time with your kids, man, that's a good thing, like
yeah,
I always have a lot of free time, and when I get home and I pick we're picking my daughter from school, I see that smile, like that's just like that's the best feeling, like the mommy, I want to miss you,
yep,
that's
100%, 100%.
um
That's what I'm trying to. That's what I do for now. You know what I mean? I want to be a hero in their eyes. You know what I mean? Like a superhero. And my kids, my especially my son. He knows my story. He knows everything, every single thing, and it just made and he's even told me it just makes it even better. A better story.
yeah, absolutely. um let's a couple more things before we get off of here. Let's plug your business. I think it's a construction business, you and your brother, right?
Yep, yep. Me and my brother that I currently stay with right now. It's Baby's flooring. We try to stick to like floors and showers. That's just like that's our bread and butter. We'll pick up a little bit bigger jobs here and there and stuff, but and it's not super hard on the body. I gotta keep myself as young as I can right now. So I try not to do nothing. I've roofed for like 6 years when I first started like actually working a job. So my first job was roofing, and that was some wear and tear on my body. Like, oh, that shit made me old quick.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, sorry. But yeah, well, anyone who's in the Pensacola area, if y'all need anything done, where come hit up Hunter Bueller right here and his brother, and they'll take care of you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes, sir.
Last question. What about those fights last night?
Oh man, dude. Oh, I really wanted. I really. I didn't. I didn't think Michael Chandler was gonna win, but I wanted him to. I went for him. Nothing against Patty. I didn't think Patty was. I don't. I still don't know if Patty's that good or if Michael Chandler is just that bad still. But
I think people wanted Taylor to win, but they knew he wouldn't. Like
yeah,
I
that's how it
personally
was.
me to win, and I think a lot of it's just because I've met him and he's a super down to earth guy, and I feel like maybe he deserved that win because let's be honest, his record sucks right now.
Yeah,
Um, you know, but I don't think he was. I didn't think he was gonna win. Like, and Patty, I have nothing against Patty. So many people hate him for what
yeah, I
he's
know.
entertained, put on a hell of a show. Like.
Yeah,
Maybe he's a little bit cocky, but he's young. He's up and coming in the UFC, so why wouldn't he be?
right. And I think he's made his imprint on like at Cage Warriors and stuff. And he's earned his dues. And I'm saying Michael Chandler, being at Bellator and stuff. But that shows like the difference in skill level from like other promotions, and then you got the UFC. You know what I mean? Like it's all fun and games until you get in that top 2 percentile of the best people in the world. And that's why I like. Shout out SD. You know what I mean? From Pensacola, he fought last night. He got stopped. I think the ref. I think it was an early stoppage. But it is what it is. You can't fight the ref on his decision. But yeah, SD's from Pensacola. He fought. He was the main on the prelim. So
Mm. Yeah, I was definitely watching him. And yeah, that was early. Same with the Woodson fight. Woodson definitely got robbed
dude,
there.
he has the craziest build ever. He's built so wild. 6'3" at 130 at 145 is nuts.
So I didn't realize how tall he was until I met him. And I'm
Yeah.
like they look shorter on TV.
Right. And like everybody that he fights is my height. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, he
So
definitely has.
how was meeting them? I just want to know real quick. How was meeting them? I could see
It's
Michael Chandler being like an uncle, like an uncle at a fucking
so
cookout or something.
So Chandler, I unfortunately didn't have the chance to actually like talk to him. It was actually at the Nashville card, the last Nashville card. We were on the floor and I saw him. We made eye contact, and I'm like, "Please come sign this and take a picture with me." And he did.
Right.
He security at the time. It was when he was beefing, I guess with McGregor or something. They were going back and
Mhm.
forth, wanting that fight. Am I saying that right? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
McGregor.
Um, I was making sure I get my fighters' names right. Sorry. And he did. He got his security dude to walk over and and he sat there, said what's up. And then after that, we talked a little bit like on Twitter and stuff, which is really cool. Sean Woodson, super down to earth. All of those St. Louis guys, the energy. Woodson. Who am I missing? Who's the third one?
From last night.
No, no, no. Just from in general from St. Louis.
Oh, from
Um,
St. Louis, fighter wise.
oh God, what is his name?
Shoot.
It starts with his last name is Buckley.
Oh yeah. Joaquin Buckley.
Yes, thank you. So that's where I met Sean was at the St. Louis card, along with Energy Buckley and McKinney, and they're all like I'm not gonna lie, like I I haven't met one, and I've met quite a few fighters in the UFC, and I have not met one who's just like an asshole, like they are so down to earth. Like I was literally chilling in the lobby with Pedro Munez down in Miami,
Yeah.
um, and same like back in St. Louis, they were all just hanging out. In Miami, I want to say the O'Malley fight, I was chilling out with Anthony Smith and Cutman Tate.
Yeah.
Um, like back to Pedro, we had a drink with him. He was back with his team in the hotel and have a drink with them. So it's
Hell yeah.
like, and this was before any of this like launched off, before our graphics, before our podcast. And
Yeah.
we didn't have a name, no, so I mean some of those, I think they're some of the best athletes, like the NFL players, the
For
NBA
sure.
players who could care less about their fans, they won't stop. You see them walk, you see these fighters walking down the street, they'll stop and take a picture,
Right.
you know.
Hey, that's the best thing, that's the crazy thing, the craziest thing too about like everybody, most people actually that fight. It's just like, that's all we want to do. Like we fight all, it's a job and we do it all the time. We just want to be soft. I mean, most time we just want to be chilling. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to. We're all chill. We get that's what throws everybody for the loop. Everybody thinks everybody's mean at fights, but no, we don't. We're just here,
There's so many people in the cage, but yet they're the softest people,
right?
and it's true, and that's what I love about this sport, like I said, I know people who are just totally against it and don't support it, but and I get it, don't get me wrong. Like to people watching two men, two women like beat the fuck out of each other in a cage is really unappealing, you
Right,
know? Like if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I'd probably been like, what? That no. Like
right.
it sounds terrible. But at
Uh,
the end of the day, like these fighters and even the fans, the communities, it's just one giant
yeah.
and cliche like way or whatever, but it's family,
1,000%. And that's what I think a lot of people that do kind of think like that. You know what I mean? That think it's stupid or not whatever to watch, but a lot of us do it for a different reason. We all have our own reason why we fight. Because I don't not like that shit. That shit's not fun. You know what I mean? Like that shit's scary. I got a whole other grown man across the cage from me trying to knock my head off. Like we don't like each other for this 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Screw that.
right?
I just I just do it because it this the I feel like I have a purpose. That's the best way I can describe it. The Sean Strickland. You know what I mean? And it saved my life. So
It's just the only sport where you can literally beat someone up, make them bloody, and at the end of the fight, you hug them.
right,
You
express yourself. It's an expression. It's an art.
and it is, it's just I don't know. MMA is a funny sport, and I love it.
It is. It's crazy.
That is all I have. Is there anything else you want to throw out there? Any plugs? Where can we find you on social? Is
Yeah,
there?
for sure. My socials, the Righteous Reaper. You know what I mean? The one, I'm the one and only. So there ain't no other one. That's no underscore, no dots, nothing like that. Just the Righteous Reaper. That's all my TikTok. My Instagram, my Facebook's just my name. And I do want to tell everybody, who anybody out there that's just struggling with whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? It will be all right, even if it doesn't seem like it is. The moment that you have that epiphany of you making a choice that changes your entire life, you'll understand that you're capable of doing everything you think you are right now. You know what I mean? Don't let those thoughts slip away because of life in the world. Believe in yourself 100%, and don't wait for anybody else to believe in you. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It only matters what you believe, and life is whatever you want it to be. It's not what everybody else says it is. So
It's awesome right there. That's some great advice right there. Well, I'd like to throw at the end of all my podcasts, you can find my podcast and our graphics business and everything at OddSmokerMMA on Instagram and Facebook. Make sure to tune in today at 12 o'clock and at 3 p.m. We will have a couple more interviews going on today. Um, Hunter, the Righteous Reaper Bueller, it's been a pleasure having you on. I'm so looking forward to meeting you in person next week. Um, you, hopefully, the family as well.
yes, ma'am. Yeah, I have my son with me, so he'll be with me too at the fights and everything. So you'll get to meet him and everything. And I really appreciate you having me on here. You know what I mean? It means more than I think anybody knows. So
Well,
it's
I'm so.
just one step closer for me to do what I'm supposed to do. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well,
I'm
thank
really
you so much.
grateful for it.
Of course, man, and I love this conversation. I always get nervous, but this was
Yeah,
an easy going one.
yeah,
So definitely loved everything you had to say, and I cannot wait to see what your MMA career brings you, and just to see you keep building up, and doing the right thing and doing the damn thing.
yes, man. That's the goal. That's the plan.
Everyone, well, that is all for right now, and we'll be back on later. You have a great rest of your day.
Yes, man. Me too. Later, guys.